What's up guys, this is ScherBR talking, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I want to talk about this special rerun banner called Romancing Festival Rag Robin. This is the best rerun banner we got in this game so far, and it's interesting that it's named after Rag Robin instead of Matriarch. We have Matriarch on the banner and she is the best character in the game period because of having access to the best buffs, Paean of Victory and Paean of Peace. That comes from inheritance. You need to invest in multiple versions of Matriarch to have her own full potential, but it's always worked because she changes how we face boss challenges. But, well, some could say that they named it after Rag Robin because we have a Romancing Festival Matriarch banner here. But is it that right? When you look on the picture, Rag Robin is very big on the picture, and while Matriarch, Gustave, Monica, and Golden Ball seems to be on the sides, meaning that they are not the main feature here. So, why is Rag Robin so good? And why did the expectations of Matriarch number 5 didn't meet the player's goal? As you can see, we got both banners together, and Romancing Festival Matriarch carries Matriarch 5, we will call her Valentine's Matriarch, but she has a skill that it's kinda too costly. Paean of Heartthrob that does not replace Paean of Victory and Paean of Peace as the main mechanics for boss fights. So people didn't like the design of the character too much, and they will still prefer, at least 95% of the time, to use the past version that comes together in Rag Robin's banner. And we will discuss these points. And first of all, let's go and talk a little more about Rag Robin. This is a character that we have on the highest tier possible because he is the best healer in the game, and he's not a mage. He has a very unique design that simply works. Well, to talk about Rag Robin, we need to go back and talk about Mirza. Well, UDX Mirza was released a long time ago, and he became the best healer in the game while still being a knight. Well, why? Because of the skill called Steel Blade Light. That was a delay skill, so it will always be used after the enemy attacks. Double damage with Sun and Slash, and also had a taunt. So there was some kind of risk here. You had to use Steel Blade Light, it had delay, so the enemy will go first, then you will taunt, so after that you will get more hit by the enemies, but then you will heal all surviving allies HP by around 800. It was not the best heal, we had a better heal with Ring of Life, with Surfing, but she didn't have anything to do while she was not using Ring of Life. So we had a damage dealer that could heal and even could drain enemy attacks with Draining Attack. So Mirza changed how we faced challenges in the past. But then we got two other characters that were very similar, that being Leon. Leon, Global Axis style, has Steel Blade Lights as well, and the status are pretty similar as well. Then we got Gerard with the same skill. Gerard was the inferior version of Dan, but still carried the same mechanic of being capable of healing the party with Steel Blade Light. 10 BP cost is a little too high. You can open with that skill, but then after that sometimes you have to wait 4 turns to use Steel Blade Light. And remember, you have delay, you taunt the enemy, your endurance and will are not that high, you could just die. But then some characters got released that could protect more the party. We had different formations like Tiger's Den. So what happened was that we used these characters as our main healers for most content. Other healers could not compete, simply could not, because they always used LP, while these characters did not. Okay, so after some time we got the release of Rag Robin banner. That was delayed for quite some time. We were waiting for what this character could bring, and he changed this mechanic and made it so much better. Because, well, let's talk about him. He has a much better endurance and will, so he can take some hits. He also brought high protect tension, decreasing damage further by 30%, something that none of the 3 Steel Blade Light users had. And then his Steel Blade attack has only 9 BP cost. That means that he will always have it available every 3 turns at least. And still kept the double element and the taunt stance. But now he taunts and can take the hits, while the other ones were always in danger. He also carries this passive called Robin's Revenge. Every hit that he takes, be it physical, magical, even if he evades, he buffs his own STR by 20%, and also nullifies all hit attacks. And when attacked directly, he always counters with a roll attack that has Slash and Blunt. Will try to debuff the enemy will and will buff his own will. Buffing his own will help him survive against magical attacks and not be inflicted with ailments. That was insane. He had a very good damage because of the STR stacking multiple times. He had a good defense because of high protect tension. His heal was better, and he even had an indirect attack that could heal himself when he was not using Steel Blade Phoenix. So it was the perfect mechanic improvement over any of the older 3 characters. So back when Rag Robin was released, I said if you didn't have gems, you could still use Mirza, but with less effect. Maybe you had to restart the fights more often, and that's true. Once I got Rag Robin, I never wanted to use Mirza again, only if the enemy had shadow attacks, because Mirza negates shadow damage. But that's not to say that once Rag Robin was released, all the other characters lost their value. Well, you only need one of them, of course, but people that still had Mirza, Gerard, or Leon and didn't have Rag Robin cleared content with them, right? So after Rag Robin impacted how we face hard challenges, we got the release of yet another version of Matriarch. Up to that point, we were using UDX Matriarch, the title of Matriarch, with inheritance of Paean of Victory or Paean of Peace from her different styles. Why we were using UDX? Because the UDX version had Shining Glory. This is a skill that also heals the party but uses 8 PP cost and 2 LP, so you can only use it 2 times. But it also buffs 4 different status, but only offensive status. So it was a nice mechanic that you could use sometimes, but the high cost will mean that you will sometimes not have enough when you were in danger. This all changed with the release of the 4th version of Matriarch, You Are the Hero, because, well, instead of having Shining Glory to heal and buff and do damage, we got Paean of Protection. This skill costs only 5 EP, the same amount of EP that you need for Paean of Victory or Paean of Peace. And when you are in a fight, you will save EP when you can, and always have these buffs available. You know how to do this. So, by the same cost, it means that you could always use this. And Paean of Protection heals everyone and grants a full evasion for 1 time and 1 turn. That means that you could time this out during a boss fight to reduce the damage of a specific turn, or even reaching 0, because if the enemy only had 1 attack, then you would just negate everything and survive a big nuke. In many fights this worked well, and this Matriarch also brought High Protect Tension, the same passive that Polka has, decreasing all damage by 30%. She also has Song of Hope that decreases 5% for everyone, as long as everyone is alive, so we reach 35% by use of Matriarch. This is very good, and this didn't exist in this version of Matriarch for JP. She didn't heal on JP as well, so this was totally broken. And if you had Polka together with this Matriarch, well, most of the time this Matriarch is carrying the Paean of Peace buff that buffs Dexterity, Will, Love, and Charisma. It's not buff STR to increase the damage of Polka, but Polka already buffs himself so many times that it doesn't really matter. But what matters is the Love and Charisma buff. That increases the heal that you perform and receive in a fight. And she will increase the heal from her skill itself. Paean of Protection will heal much more if you cast it after Paean of Peace. And by buffing Will, you are increasing your magical resistance and resistance to ailments. It was some of the best strategies together with Leon. Leon is the best damage dealer in the game, now he's the protagonist, and he benefits from Dexterity buff that comes from Paean of Peace. So if you have these 3 units, you can clear most content in the game. You just bring 2 other supports and you are set. The support will differ depending on the hard challenges. So hence why I need to explain why this banner is so good. It brings some of the best strategies in the game, with also a character that can farm. Matriarch number 4 can farm pretty well with her Twin Penetrate. and even inheritance of the Gleaming Waves so she can keep using fast attacks. A very nice strategy. We are looking at some of the best characters this game has to offer. So just by looking on those two characters, this banner is good enough, right? Yes, and it's even better than the normal banner that has the Valentine units. Why? Because this version of Matriarch is not that important. Why? Because Peon of Heartthrob is a skill that was buffed in Global to carry even more buffs. Now she also applies Defense Boost, and she also applies Defense Down. Defense Down is not important, guys, it barely increases your damage output against enemies, but Defense Boost is nice, it increases your resistance to damage by 15%. So, in the end, she was actually a mix of two different spells from Narwhal's daughter. And that is good, right? It should be, because Tri-Quartet Carnival together with Water Festival, just remove the BP plus effect, will be insane, right? But then we come to a problem, the frequency that you can cast this spell, because it costs 12 VP, she gets 4 VP per turn, you can only use it once every 3 turns, and the problem is that you are not using Peon of Peace or Peon of Victory anymore, because you are changing her role in a battle. So the strategy of using Peon of Heartthrob is not so good in most scenarios. One that we can think of is against Bertrand Wastelands 5, that we have multiple waves, you can save BP, and then when you reach the final boss, you can use Peon of Heartthrob on turn 1, and then again on turn 2, applying many buffs and debuffs on the same time to help you survive. But even if this boss uses the Fire Weakness later, at least you buff it off your status and that will stay there. But besides that point, you are trading off the main strategy of casting multiple Peon of Victory or Peace, and that is not good enough. The only way to use Peon of Heartthrob without sacrificing too much is to bring other buffers that can replicate what the first versions of Matriarch were doing. We will get more buffers in the future. We will get a version of White Rose that buffs STR, Dexterity, and Agility. We will get a version of Muse that buffs defensive status. We will get some others as well, but they cannot cast every turn. But for the time being, the strategy of Peon of Heartthrob will never beat Peon of Victory or Peon of Peace being cast all turns. Hence why I said in my review that while this Matriarch is now the best carrier of Peon of Victory or Peon of Peace by inheritance, you can skip her, because the upgrade is not that big. We lost a little Endress, we lost a little Will, we got much higher agility, we got also a better resistance, but you lose the chance of casting Peon of Protection. It's not that you will use Peon of Protection all the time, because it's actually dangerous sometimes. If you are buffing Peon of Peace, it means that you need to buff your will to not get inflicted with ailments, for example. And if you skip one turn, that means that the general value of your will decrease. But sometimes it's the only way to survive, because you didn't have enough VP to cast Steelblade Phoenix with your Rag Robin, for example. So having this as an option helps. But it's not to say that this version of Matriarch cannot clear the same content, because, well, just restart the fight. Hard challenges only need to be cleared once, and you may get a better RNG and not get in a dangerous position, and she will clear just fine, and she will receive a little less damage than Matriarch number 4. Still, this better value is so big because you find two overpowered characters in the same banner, whereas some people had to spend 45,000 to get just Matriarch or 45,000 to get just Rag Robin in their respective banners, and then you have the added Golden Ball. But not everyone will have all these styles. Some people only miss Rag Robin, or some people only miss Rag Robin and Golden Ball. In that case, if you miss Rag Robin, I still believe that chasing this banner is always the best option. If you only miss Matriarch, you can actually choose if you want the newest Matriarch with a little more resistance and agility instead of Matriarch 4, and you will be able to clear the same content, guys. And you can use a different Golden Ball that is a side grade and will work just the same as well. But now let's discuss a little more about the remaining units. Golden Ball is very good because she has a unique design. Very high endurance, she's weak to magical attacks and has low will. But when she's attacked, she buffs all surviving allies' endurance by 15%, and she also has Shrine Dance, a spell that decreases damage by 35. So, 9 BP cost, she only gets 3, right? But she has Ki that gives her 1 BP, so we have 7. And she also has this Painful Lesson, she has a chance to recover BP when attacked. And when used in the right formation, she will be hit and buff BP, and you almost always have Shrine Dance available every 2 turns, keeping up this 35 damage reduction at all times while buffing endurance. If the boss has many physical attacks, Golden Ball brings a very good strategy. The newest Golden Ball is a side grade because she loses the BP skill, Ki, that gives her more BP, and also loses the passive that has a chance to get BP. So she only has 3 BP per turn, and that will not change. So even if you want to inherit the Shrine Dance spell, you will not be able to cast it every 2 turns. So 1 turn every 3 turns, you will be unprotected. This one still works. In my opinion, she decreases damage by 15% with Spider Spread, and it should be more than enough most of the time. So hence why the banner still had some value. The next character we have is Gustave. He is actually made for Remembrance more than anything else, but he can also farm with Vertical Blade. He can use it 2 times in a row. It's a slash column attack with very big damage. Besides, he can buff the party damage with Great Swords, and also kind of self-heals to survive well. His endurance is pretty high, will is not even that bad. So for Remembrance, he is kind of a leader, but well, he's still not useful in hard challenges. The older version of Gustave is, and he carries Scrum Guard and also Steel Dominance, a skill that decreases spell damage. So this is the only one that we use in hard fights. Now, the last character is Monica, and she's here because we are getting a bow version of Monica. But this one is also good enough because, for Remembrance, she helps because of this skill called Present of Pleasure. 7 BP will give BP to everyone, buffs Charisma, heals a little, casts Morale up. It's good for support if you really need. She can also self-heal very well. She heals for around 800 with an attack that can be used at any time. She's also a good farmer with Noble Cross Plus, but she needs inheritance from her debuff style because of Blurry Needles to have a better rotation. She can simply open with a weak attack and then use a fast attack later. It's a very nice combination. She can also inherit Sword Ballet Plus and use it 2 times in a row. Very strong for farming and combos pretty well with UDX Dark, both using the same attack. We have this version of Monica because you can use Pleasant of Pleasure now with her bow style that will be coming in a week. This version of her is already very nice because it offers some attacks that can heal, buff, so you can kind of import one skill into another. Just import this attack, call it Balloon Rain, and you can use it on Remembrance battles with the Rapier version of Monica. This skill here will be able to buff Dexterity Charisma and heal the party. And this other one will allow you to inflict Charm, and Charm will be useful in the future when we get a Remembrance battle that you need to cast either Charm or Confusion on targets. But there are 2 targets there, we'll have to think more about that. And this version of Monica can also heal, so you can also inherit the heal into the Rapier version if you want. It's nice to have characters that can switch between weapons because they add even more value to Remembrance battles. But still, you don't really need Gustave or Monica. If you want to summon on this special rerun banner, especially because of Rag Robin, go and aim in Rag Robin, then Matriarch, then Golden Ball. And if you got those 3 early, stop. You are good enough. You can find alternatives for Gustave and Monica in the future. Hence why I gave this banner a gold award, and this is my opinion. What do you think about this all? Please say here on the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you haven't. If you want to support the channel, there are links on the description too. I hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye! And even though I gave a gold award to the Valentine's banner, it was mostly because it still brings a new version of Matriarch, and that is the best buffer version of Matriarch when you, well, removes everything else from the equation. But this banner brings even more value by having Rag Robin and Matriarch together. So for this special occasion, I will create a new award, and I'll call it Diamond, because this is the best banner to spend your gems on.